All right, let me get started, guys, for today. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. Is there something?
No, I just stopped sharing, so that's why you can
Sure.
just.
Yep. Pradeep, Pradeep, did you get a chance to complete? I see you join and rejoin. You have any issues with connection or audio? Are you able to hear me clearly? Do you have any issues with the hands-on? Okay, cool. I did not hear you. Maybe if you face an issue, you can ping me. Not a problem. All right. Okay, let's get started, guys. Again, so today what are we going to see is we're going to see something about how are we going to use variables? What are the different resource attributes for different providers? And how we will use the interpolation sequence to understand the dependencies between different resources. What are the types of dependencies? Maybe the implicit dependencies, explicit dependencies. And then we talk about the output block. We have already seen about output block, but we will see about output block and few other Terraform commands like, how do we get the Terraform values formatted, the provider commands, and things like that, right? And then once everything is fine, we will move to the lifecycle. That's the plan today, right? Okay. What is variable? Generally, variable, like what we have done in our code so far, we just entered the values directly. Say, for example, many values we have, many resources we are trying to create, but usually we do not want it to create, we do not want it to hard code it directly because we wanted to manage the variables in a particular place. Or during runtime of the program, I wanted to pass the variable. How do I pass the variable during runtime? So this is what we need to understand, right? So before I go there, let me open the PPT because the PPT has, okay, sorry, I stopped sharing, unfortunately. I'm just opening. Sorry. All right. So here we have seen about the workflow, and then we have seen about some blocks, right? The initialization thing we have seen. Format, Terraform FMT command we have seen about. Validate we have seen about Terraform plans, Terraform apply, and Terraform destroy also we have seen. What is Terraform destroy? To delete all these resources. And the cleanup part, uh, this I have not told you, but this I will tell you today. What is this cleanup part is basically how do we clean up the infrastructure resources? That's what it means. All right. Okay. And then we will move to fundamental blocks, which is what we are going to see today with all our Terraform blocks, right? The resource block is what we have already seen, but the variable block, this is where we are today. So what is Terraform variable block? So we have seen about, I've told you there are multiple blocks we have to write in our code. One of the blocks we've seen about is Terraform resource block. Also, we have seen about Terraform output block. But today, what are we going to see is we're going to see about something called as Terraform variable block. What is variable block? So here, if you see all the values, whatever we have written, right? These values we have hard coded. We have directly written the values, but I do not want it to directly write it here. I wanted to pass it via variables. How can I pass it via variables? We need to understand. So I can actually declare the variable block in the same file also, but as I told you, we will follow the proper naming convention. I will say variables.tf. So in variables.tf, I'm going to mention all our variable blocks. So first variable I'm going to declare variable. I'll say file name because we have file name here. This file name, I want to put it in a variable, but this file name, I'm using it for my file one, right? So what I'll do is file name one. I'll just say file name one. And for this, I need to mention what sort of values I need to say. So I can say default values. I will say default value is file1.txt. Simply, I will say file1.txt. Instead of such a big name, I'll say file1.txt. So here I will just remove this. Instead, the file name, I will say variable dot the file name. What is the file? I mean the variable name. Variable. Sorry. Yeah. Right. So I will say var dot file name one. What I have given here, right? File name one. So variable dot file name one. So instead of putting the value here directly, I will say variable dot file name one. Also for content, I will have to declare the content. Variable content one, default value is whatever that I have put here. I'll just copy. I'll just cut it. I'll paste it here. So this content one, I want to put it here. So variable dot content. So how am I declaring the variable? In variables.tft, I'll create a variable block. Inside that, I'll create a variable name, the file name one, and the default value is whatever the text that I. What if I don't give the default value? Just I have the empty variable block, which means whenever actually what it does is I'll go one by one, but I'm just telling you now what the value of the variable should be given. At least during the code, we should give as a default value, or during when we run, right? During we running this particular code, we should pass it as a value. So in any way, while running your Terraform code, you should have the value for this particular variable. I'll tell you, I'll start with giving the default value, then I'll run with without values. Then I'll tell you how to pass these values. Okay, so I'll go here. This is for first resource I have done. For second resource, I'll go with the same approach, but this time, sorry, this is content. So instead of one, I'll give two. Again, I need to keep two different blocks. Copy and paste it. Why? Because it's going to be same, but I'll say file name 2 and content 2. This is file 2, sorry, file 2, and this is content. Hello guys, this is different content, something like this, right? So this is how I can mention it in variable. Even this, right? Length, prefix, separator. I have kept it in a hard-coded value. I want to parameterize length, right? So the variable length. Uh, Default value is 1, and I'll say variable separator, right? Default value is dot, and variable, what else we had? Prefix we had, right? Default value is tester, right? So here I'll go to the code. I will change this var dot length, var dot prefix, var dot separator, right? Now I'll go and do this Terraform plan. What will be the plan now, guys? Because I have some modifications. I have changed the file name. I have changed the content, right? I have something. If you don't have any changes in terms of values, but if you just made it as variable, it will not make any changes for you. But now if I do Terraform plan, it will make some changes. Why? Because I told you I have modified this with this, and I have modified the content as well. I have modified the file name as well. So I'll just show you this. Vijay was having some audio issue. Did he join?
No, I joined it. I joined.
Oh, okay. What happened? You had some audio issue, is it?
Yes, yes, yes. No
Okay.
doubt.
Pradeep, I just noticed your text. I'm sorry. Uh, okay. What is the question? I am in admin. Oh, okay. You are answering something. AWS CLI is charging you for hours or how many hours? It is free. AWS CLI doesn't charge you. You're having trouble downloading Terraform in Windows. Downloading Terraform? You mean the Terraform setup?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will help you. Maybe end of this, right? I will just remind me. I will help you to set it up. Right? So, any other questions, folks, so far? I hope no questions. But yeah, I'll do this from C3 to destroy and 3 to add. You guys know that obviously because we have modified many things. So it will destroy and it will recreate. So the file names will be changed, and this also the pet name also get changed because we have modified it. So Terraform apply will say apply. See, just modified it. But everything Now the values are not being, directly given here. It will just download it. It will just while running, right? It will pick it up, right? So there are many ways to pass this Terraform variable values, guys. Now what I have done is I have just passed it via my runtime, right? Like while running my code, I have just mentioned it as default value. So in many way you can actually do that. So in many ways, as in we will see that. But now what I'll do is I'll just go to this variable. I'll delete one value. What if I just delete one value and when I try to run this Terraform plan? See, when you run Terraform value, it will insist you to give the value. What? Why? Because we are using this value for one of the resource, and if you don't provide that value, you have to pass this value, right? So you have to pass this value. I'll say file one.txt. If you give the same value, there are no changes. Let's say if I'm just giving a different value for this, I'll say file new one.txt. It will modify. It will delete the existing file and recreate it. But yeah, but you have to pass the values. While running your code, you have to pass your values, right? Folks, any questions, doubt? I hope no doubt. I'll just proceed now. Now, when you're trying to apply, when you're trying to run the command line, let's say every time,
Has
see, I might be running. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Satish, what is that slash OneDrive slash documents slash Jan paths means? But why it is on? I sorry, not got.
Which one? Sorry.
Uh, in the terminal below.
Yeah. Okay, this
This
one. This is the path. Actually, where is my this folder? Current folder is located. That's the path. In my
okay, and
documents, in my local machine, in my documents, I have Jan batch as a folder. Inside that, I'm having this folder. So if you do ls, all my files, whatever I have it in the project explorer will be displayed here. That's my local
let's
path.
okay, let's like Linux command.
Yes, ls is to list out all the files and folders in the current directory.
Okay, okay. So here all Linux commands are working.
Yeah, I mean in bash, git bash, the Linux commands will work. So that's why I took the bash prompt.
Okay, so because I can see only that line when you run that code. That output you said, right? Where it's shown, actually, I could not see.
Uh, output, you mean Terraform output, is it? I
And
ran
like,
it, right? See, Terraform apply I did, and if you see here, outputs, these are the outputs.
okay, okay, okay. So it's actually it is a very small screen, na?
Yeah, it is small. So if you want to make it bigger, I'll just put it like this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So outputs, and it'll show you the complete output. So
Okay.
I did Terraform apply, and it was asking confirmation. I did yes, and then it created the resource. After that, it outputted all the values.
Okay. Okay. When we'll type the code, then we cannot see the like this. Maybe that is the problem.
No, you can actually, like, you need to expand it. Like whenever, maybe if you want to be very clear, whenever you are using your command prompt, just make it little bigger. Before you type all your command, make it this up arrow, right? There is an up arrow. You can see my arrow, right? This one, if you press, it will become bigger.
Okay.
Then you do Terraform plan and apply whatever that you want. You will be able to see it in your full screen. Or you can do it in another way. You can open a separate git bash prompt. Let's say git bash, open a separate git bash prompt, go to this particular location, say maybe copy this path, okay, and go to this
Okay.
location, right, and open it here. So see here, and you can open it in a separate prompt. So do Terraform plan here.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Anything is fine.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. So yeah, so this is pretty way to do the Terraform plan, and there is another way. So when I do Terraform plan alone, right? You see here, the Terraform plan alone I'm trying to do, it will prompt me the value. Where is that? Did I change anything? Okay, cool. This is for an example. I'll tell you. Guys, there is one thing very importantly, even who asked doubt right now. If you're using two terminal for one Terraform, I'm trying to do the Terraform plan, will give me error. Why? Because already one more Terraform plan ran against this folder. You see here, Terraform plan. I'm running, it was waiting for the value. So what it will do, it will lock your state file. Your state file will be locked. You see, you are unable to open it. Why? Because your state file is being locked when you are running your Terraform plan. That lock will not be released for anyone else to plan. This is the advantage we're using this Terraform in your current industries. Why? Because two developers or two different administrator who wants to execute or run their code, right? They cannot do it.
Uh,
Why? Because at a
Satish,
time,
yes,
yeah.
sorry for the interpret. How do you open the separate window? Now, just now you open the separate window. Now, which option you click?
This is normal Git bash. This is normal Git bash. I opened a Git bash separate.
Say okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this is so what will happen is when you're trying to run your code, it will throw you an error saying error acquiring the state lock. Your plan will not run. So which means there is another plan is running in parallel. Now when I stop, right, you see here, now I can open the state file. Here also I can open this Terraform plan, right? So which means whenever you're trying to do Terraform plan or apply, your state file will be locked. No one can open your state file. The state lock will be acquired. There is one file also temporarily created called as state lock info. See, you see here terraform.tf state.lock info. One operator who locked their state file. So what will happen? That particular user is trying to do some plan or apply. So other user will not be able to do. So one at a time. One at a time. Right? Now, what I was trying to tell you here is like Terraform plan, when I do it, every time it is prompting me the command prompt. Let's say I want to automate this task. When I am automating, every time I cannot get the prompt and I cannot enter it, right? I need to pass it as a variable. So how can I pass it? -var, I can pass. Which variable I need to pass it? Which variable? File name 1, right? File name 1 equals to, I need to pass file name file1.txt. See, so it will tell me no changes. If I change the file name, say file new1.txt, it will give me the error. Say, I mean, not error, basically it will tell you delete and recreate. I'm sorry. It will delete and recreate, right? So it's going to be in the same option.
Sorry, can you do that again?
I'm sorry. Sorry?
Can you repeat that again? Passing the variable through the command line. Can you do that again? I missed something.
Sure. Yeah. So Terraform plan -var, which means variable, your variable name equals to the values within double quotes. That's it.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So there is another way also, guys. So we can actually keep the values in your variables in a file as well. So we'll see that in further classes. How we will keep the TFRs, because anyway, I need to tell you about how to make it automated in CI, right? Like, at least some sort of idea I will give you that will help you. For now, try to do the hands-on till here. So the next thing what I'm going to focus here is, I'll just keep it as it is, because our focus is to learn about the interpolation sequence. Now let's say I want to create one more resource. What resource I want to create? I'll say resource. I'll say local underscore file, okay, file 3, or I'll say my file 3. My file 3. In this file, what I want to do is file name equals to, I'll say new file dot txt. This new file, I want to write some content, but the content, hello, this is the what content I want to write is, I want to write the content with the value which the random pet is generating. Hello, this is, and whatever the pet name it is generating, I want to write it here. Let's say the pet name, and I'm here automate Terraform, something like that, right? So here the pet name should be replaced. How can I replace this pet name here? So we can actually, this is already generating some values, right? How can I mention this here? So that can be done via a sequence called as interpolation sequence. What do you mean by interpolation sequence? You will have some code within this dollar symbol and your flower bracket. So whatever the code that you have within this dollar symbol and the flower bracket will be executed as a code. What is a code? And I will say this, refer this variable name, random pet dot my pet name. So it will be executed as a code. So this is called as interpolation sequence. So it will evaluate this particular string. What will it evaluate? Random pet dot, random pet dot random pet. Okay, random pet is the name I have given for the resource also, is it? Or I'll say my pet. Random pet dot, right? Random pet dot my pet, right? So this will be replaced. So whatever the name is being generated here, that will be the content here. That will be the content. Okay. So you are trying to execute the interpolation sequence. This is called as interpolation sequence, which will evaluate some values, whatever that you're trying to give inside. So what will happen? The content what is being created for the new file.txt will be written like, hello, this is whatever the pet name it is generating, and I'm here to automate. So this has, I'll do this for you. Maybe this is the one, right? And I will change it. Why to just iterate that. Terraform plan. What does it mean? Cannot include the given value in a string template. String required. What is the issue? Sorry, I could not see that completely. What is it? Sorry, invalid template interpolation value. Random underscore pet dot my pet name. Object with 5 attributes. Okay. What we wanted to pass dot ID we need to pass. Okay, cool. See, random pet dot pet name is a resource. That resource has various attributes, the ID, length, prefix, and different things. What I want to put it here, I want to print the ID here, right? I want to print the name of the thing it is generating. So I want to print the ID. So dot ID should be passed. I did not pass it. So what it's asking is, like it is saying that, okay, so what is that? See, invalid template interpolation value. What is the value? So this is coming up with 5 attributes. Which attribute you wanted? So look at the error. Looking at the error, you will be able to resolve it. One second. That's it. Okay, 5 attributes. I'll try to do the Terraform plan again. Terraform plan. See here, one to add. Again, it is trying to do Terraform apply. I will say yes now. When I apply, say Mr. Dolphin. So if you go to new file, hello, this is Mr. Dolphin. I'm here to automate the Terraform. So Mr. Dolphin is a pet name. It is generated, and that is being replaced here. So that's how we can have the values here. I mean, this is how you can evaluate and you can have the value. Now, what I'm trying to tell you here is, if you look at the sequence, what is being generated, if you see, now what I'll do, for example, I'll do Terraform destroy. Destroy. Let's say yes. Deleting everything, guys. I've deleted everything. Now I'll do Terraform plan. See, it will tell you the plan. You guys know that. 4 to add. These are the things. And when I do Terraform apply, I'll say yes. If you see first, right, it is creating my file to my file, but my file 3 will be created at last 5. The focus is my file 3 will be created only after the pet name is created. It cannot get created before the pet name. Why? Because this has a dependency with pet name. So dependent resource will be created first. So how we will know that? The Terraform automatically first analyze your code, how the dependencies are going to happen here. Now, actually, if you see this, I created first. This code I have written first, and then I return this code. But automatically, what Terraform internally, it will try to understand the resource. Does it have any dependencies between other resources? Now, this local file, my file 3 has a dependency between this my pet name. So my pet name is created first, and then it is creating my file 3. If you look at the sequence here, right? My file 3 is created after my pet name, right? Why? Because this has a dependency. This is basically implicit dependency. What is implicit dependency? What implicit dependency is something that Terraform by default will understand and will create the resource based on the dependencies. In some scenario, Terraform will not understand the dependency. We have to explicitly tell Terraform, hey, please create after this resources. So that is called as explicit dependencies. What is explicit dependencies? Dependency which is like, we are explicitly mentioning it to create one after another. That is explicit dependency. So how do we do that explicit dependency? We'll see that we are anyway going to see that like, in our further classes about meta arguments. So it is one of the meta argument. How are we going to create our meta arguments? We'll see that in the further classes. But that is explicit dependency. Now, what are we seeing is implicit dependency. Then you can ask me, hey Satish, how can I visualize this? Like you are telling that, okay, it has some dependency between this and this. How can I visualize this? So there is a feature I told you in Terraform, you will have an option to see that via Terraform graph. Remember, Terraform graph is one of the option to visualize this, whether it has a dependency or not. How can I generate the graph? You have a Terraform graph command. So you can type Terraform graph. You have to export the Terraform graph, guys. It's a small command. You have to say Terraform graph. If you just say Terraform graph, it will tell you like this. You won't understand the complete part of like this. Actually, if you want to understand, I can tell you. But if you see this, right? Terraform graph, it will tell you what is the dependency between different resources. But it is little bigger to understand. It's a digraph. You know what is digraph, right? Or double-ended graph, basically. You will have the dependencies between different one. Little difficult to understand from this perspective. I'll show you in a different way. This Terraform graph, we can actually generate via image. This one I want to export it via image using dot. So you have a dot -p svg. You can generate via svg format, and you say graph dot svg. Enter. This command will generate some image. You see here graph dot svg. Just open it. Maybe I'll open it in a folder. Reveal in file explorer. This one, if you open, you will get a nice graph. So this graph you can understand actually. So what are you trying to understand here is, you see the root, and you have output block. You have this root output one output dot file content, file one dot content. You're trying to output it. That's okay. You don't look at the output things. But what I'm trying to say is, you have your local file dot my file 2, local file dot my file 3, and local file dot my file. Local file dot my file. These all are under this local provider. So you have a local provider. This local provider has three things: my file 1, my file 2, and my file 3. This my file 1 has a variable, content 1, 2 variables. It has file name and file content. And this my file 2 also has the same set of things, content 2 and file name 2. But if you see here, right, my file 3 is actually depending on this random pet. This random pet will be generated first with this variable. First it will get generated, and then this local file dot my file gets generated. So this uses which module? You get, not module, basically the provider basically the local provider. All these are using your local provider, right? So little tricky to understand initially, but going forward, when you repeatedly see that, you will be able to understand, okay, this has a dependency. This will not show you all your data. It will just have the dependencies. Why it is not showing the variable dot content or something? I did not put it in variable. I directly declared the values. But this has a dependency. This one has a dependency. So Terraform internally will generate this graph and try to understand, okay, this has a dependency. First, this random pet has to get created. This has a depend. This is a when you have a line between the resources, right? Which means these two has dependencies. Even when you see here, right? This has a this local file name is directed with this variable.content, right? These are all the variables should be taken the values first to build this particular resource. And whatever the resource you will see in a rectangle, whatever the variables you will see like a file, like you see here, a little folder here, right? And whatever that you're seeing in a Eclipse, those are all actually the top level module, and whatever you are seeing in a diamond, which are the modules the resources are going to use. So when you keep seeing this, you will understand, but this is a very small example, so you will be able to see this. But if you're building a bigger Terraform file, you will see a very bigger Terraform graph, which is little difficult to understand initially. But going forward, whenever you're seeing your, Terraform graph, right, you will understand eventually. But it just needs a practice. That's it. All right, folks, are you able to understand? Did I confuse you? If you guys still have some issues, please let me know. Guys, are you able to understand what is variables and few things what I was trying to explain about this dependencies, about how we use the interpolation sequence and things like that?
I see.
Yeah.
So when we are running the code, is there any way we can able to understand the flow, what exactly code is doing, that line is doing, and what output coming? Is there any option?
Sorry.
Like like line by line code is running. What exactly that line is doing, it can share the output. That way
You
is
want to do it in a
available.
debug mode, is it?
Debug mode is yeah. Is that option available in Terraform also?
It is there. You have to say tf underscore log equals to debug and then do Terraform plan and do this. See, this is a complete debug mode. This is giving you a detailed debugging thing. So I'll do this. tf underscore log equals to debug and do Terraform apply, and you say enter. We'll do plan and apply. It's already applied actually, but if you see, this is basically giving you a complete log, giving you a very detailed log, but you have to understand in a different way basically. But if you see here, right, it will give you a complete log, a very detailed log, which framework it is using, which dependency it is, which plugin it is referring to. Everything is being, right here. So when you do Terraform apply, it is actually no changes. So it is not doing any changes. If you see here, no changes. So it is not doing any changes.
Okay. Yeah,
But
just I
actually,
want
if you see all your variables, the values and everything can be tracked using a debug mode. So I understand your question is how do we debug, right?
yeah.
So the command you can use is in front of Terraform command. You use tf log equals to debug mode, which will tell you the detailed log.
Okay. So that means that option is there. Yeah, that's what I
Yes,
wanted to
yes,
say.
yes. Yeah. So
So
you can even
try
do
some
that.
normal code and you can try to understand that.
Yes, Terraform destroy. You can try to recreate it. I'll say yes, and I will say Terraform. Okay, I'll just do the same thing. Terraform. Say yes. This will give me complete value now. Now this time when I try to look at the code, it will give me the detailed values. What are the things it is gonna help me out with the understanding which variable it is talking about, everything. So I just have to say, see here, which plugin is relevant for calling each resources. Everything is going to be mentioned out here.
Okay. If you don't mind, can you please try one small code in debug mode, like which I just for
No, I have
small.
written. Okay, So I can even show that here, like, you have your Terraform plan already with debug mode, right? If you see here, right, it will
Yeah,
try
yeah.
to see local file. My file is creating with all these providers. So it is basically a local provider with which framework, all this information.
Okay.
So it is little tricky to parse it while you are running your code, but you get a complete log. There are many tools available actually nowadays, right? When you are integrating with CI, right, your GitHub, GitLab, or any Jenkins or any kind of CI tool when you are trying to use it, right, that has some tool to parse all these debug logs, will highlight only the relevant thing for you.
Okay.
But yeah, this will give you a detailed one. Each and every variables, values, what is being generated, everything you will get it basically, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Folks, any doubt? Any questions so far? I'm going a little slow because initial classes, since you guys are not talking much, I'm not sure whether you get completely or not, but I want to give time to settle down and do sort of hands-on. If you feel that I'm going slow, let me know. Or if you feel that I'm going faster, also let me know. Anything is fine, but you have to tell me your feedback, how the classes you are expecting, right?
I have a question.
Yes. Go ahead, Theo.
So when you were passing the random uh, provider, like when you were doing it, yeah, under the context
Here,
the adapter. So
just to show
why
you,
the ID
I
one?
mean,
I don't understand why you have to pass the ID. That's what I just want to ask. I understand
sorry.
random. I understand you have to do like the random pet, which is the provider dot my pet name. But I don't know why did it not work when you didn't pass the ID. So what is the relevance of that ID there?
Okay, the answer is the pet name, random pet dot pet name. This has multiple outputs. So it has a length, prefix, separator, ID, and one more thing as well. Like all the values are different values at that. I need to mention what value I'm going to pass it here. I did not mention the specific one, so it was throwing me an error saying what value you want. You have 5 attributes,
Okay. So if you don't want,
right?
is it that
Eh,
you don't want to mention any of those attributes? That's when you pass. That's when you pass the
it
ID.
won't work. There is no use. So you mentioned that, like, maybe in a class there are 5 people. Call one person. If you say which person, you need to specify. If you don't mention that, you will not get the value specific. That's how it is. So you have to mention which parameter you wanted to print it here.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Folks, any questions, doubts? Okay. So while coming tomorrow, I would expect everyone to complete your hands-on, folks. Please complete it, come back and ask the questions. Tomorrow we will talk about the lifecycle rules. How are we going to use our lifecycle rules of Terraform, and how are we going to use our meta arguments? Then we will move to our AWS part. Right? So whatever I'm talking about is with the Terraform concept, not specific to AWS for now. Once we're familiar here, we can directly go and write our code with Terraform. So with AWS, that's what the plan is basically. I'm going step by step. If you guys stuck somewhere or having any questions, please let me know. I can help you to clarify all your doubts. All right. Any questions, feedback, doubts?
Tomorrow, what topic are you going to take?
Lifecycle rules.
Life cycle. Okay.
Yes. And we have to see about data source and yeah, quite number of topics are there. We will see that one by one. We'll go step by step. All right.
Okay.
Thanks everyone. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
But I'm requesting, please do the hands-on. That's important. Thanks.